Alright, well, good morning. Real quick, I'm going to show you guys how you can do the tumblers, epoxy tumblers without a turner. Before I had a turner, I did the hang method, which I saw from Lauren. I don't see her anymore on here. I don't know if she's still making cups or whatever, but people used to use Coke bottles, and put inside, and that's what they used before the turners got real big. And Robin also did a hang method. So I'm going to show you guys, and that's where I got using the pencil caddies from Robin. But I want to show you guys another way, because the pencil caddies are not in the stores right now, right? And people are looking for ways to do turners. So what I do is I get a pool noodle, all right? And you can buy these at Walmart. They're on sale right now. I use pool noodles. I don't use any fancy inserts or anything. I cut up a pool noodle. So I just cut the pool noodle. And I lightly wrap it in electrical tape, and my tumblers don't fall off the turners. I don't squeeze it down. I just stick my fingers in here, pull out the electrical tape, and I just lightly wrap it, because I don't want to put pressure on the pool noodle to where it's going to make it compact or anything. I want it to stay its size. Alright. And this is what I end up with. And I just stick it in there. And it goes in there pretty good. Alright. And sometimes it takes a bit to get it out. But this is what I use. I use pool noodles. Okay. And I use a different size. They have the smaller thin ones you can get at Dollar Tree that are great for doing water bottles, etc. The skinnier things. They have the bigger fat pool noodles. This size, I think it's like the medium sized pool noodle. It works great for the anywhere from the wine glasses up to the 30-ounce traditional curved and straight tumblers. Alright, it's not the little skinny one, but it's not the real big fat one. It's like a medium sized one. Okay, let's see if there are any measurements on here. I got this from Walmart, and it's called the Mega Pool Noodle, and they're on sale right now because summer's over. Alright, so what I'm going to use as a stand is the Dollar Tree paper towel holders. These are Dollar Tree. It's a freaking Dollar Tree paper towel holder. And y'all see how long this pool noodle is, right? I can make how many? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 inserts that are 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 4.5 to 5 inches long. Alright, and they last for a really long time. Okay? So the paper towel holders from Walmart, from the Dollar Tree, it's $1. Pool noodles. I use these chopping mats for to protect my surfaces for a lot of things, and they're from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 in the pack. People are also using these for like those stencil school mats or whatever, cutting it with their cutter. People use these mats for a lot of things. When people were making masks hard and heavy, they were using these for the mask ear holder things. So I'm just going to make a slit. And you can use anything for this. And that just protects that so I don't get a whole bunch of epoxy or drips over the metal. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can also use a piece of foil or parchment paper or wax paper or whatever it is that you're going to use. And do the same thing. So that's going to be your holder. Hey, Shannon, good morning. Good morning, Chica. Good morning, Newman, Alicia. Alright. Now, you can do this without your edge being protected. With the hang method, it's easier to give it a lip because you don't have to worry about wiping the drips as much, okay? If you are not going to give this any kind of lip, when you do this hang method, you're going to have to come back and clean your drips every so often. I don't have anything to epoxy, but I'm going to set it. So how I do my tape lines, damn it, I don't have a popsicle stick. We'll just go like this. Okay, if I had, you can use popsicle sticks taped together or held together some kind of way to give whatever height you want on your taped off section. Like this was a previously done cup and I stripped. Y'all can kind of see where it was previously taped off there. I don't know if it comes in on the camera or not. But whatever you're using to build your height, whether it was popsicle sticks or another container, you just put your, I use a silver Sharpie. You put your silver Sharpie on top and you place it against the cup. Alright? And then you turn the cup. You don't move the Sharpie. But if you just want a smaller silver section, just put the Sharpie on a flat surface, hold it still, and you're going to turn your cup. And this is going to give you a straight line. For you to tape off. Alright. Cap the Sharpie. And I don't know if y'all will be able to see that, but it's a faint silver line. Alright. And just place your tape. I always place it above the line, depending on which way you're looking. And place my tape. And I'm going around that Sharpie line. And if you do it above the line instead of the below, you can use any color Sharpie because your paint and your glitter will cover it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a silver Sharpie. Alright, that gives me a nice even edge. So what you would do, you just take your tumbler, push it down, and there's the stand. Okay? And that's it. You can even use these, even if you're doing, using a turner, and you don't have multiple turner arms available, or you don't want to make them, although they're really simple to make. The turner arms are really simple to make. You could, you know, use this setup. So this is what you have. Your cup would be glittered or whatever. You mix your epoxy, and you're going to smooth it over in thin layers. I'm going to tell you right now, it takes quite a bit of layers when you're doing the hang method because gravity pulls the epoxy down, so it's going to be thinner. How many layers did I used to have to do? I think I had to do like 3 layers, maybe 4 of epoxy before I could ever get to where I could sand without hitting the glitter. I want to say it was 3, all right, before I would even be able to sand it. But you paint, glitter, whatever you're going to do, and then you're going to do your epoxy. And how it would do it is, I would pour my epoxy from here, and I just go like this, and then just smooth it down. Lightly smooth it down. Okay? I hope y'all can see. And I would just lightly smooth it down, all the way down. You let that layer dry. This is where, when I first started, I used to use space heaters all the time because you got to do so many layers of epoxy when you do the hang method. So you let that dry. If you have a space heater or something, it would take like about 4 hours for each layer to dry. Okay, and then on that third layer, I'd be able to sand. Like with the turner, I can sand on the second layer. Hang method, it was like the third or fourth layer before I'd be able to sand. So I would sand it real good. You want to pay special attention to your edges because with gravity pulling it down, it's not going to settle on the edges as much. So you want to make sure your edges are sanded real good. And then with the tape, how it's taped off, you don't have to worry about sanding the lip, which I used to have to sand the lip. But what you want to remember is you don't want this tape to dry on your tumbler. You don't want the epoxy to dry and this tape is on there. So if you're doing this method, if you are not using a space heater, it's going to probably be about 45 minutes to where the epoxy is sticky enough to where you want to remove your tape. If you are using a space heater, it's probably going to be like 20, 30 minutes. And you'll be able to remove your tape. You're going to have to figure out which one is going to work best for you because, like, I live in Houston. It's hot as crap. It doesn't take long if I'm out in my garage. I have my tumbler out in my garage to be able to remove the tape. And how I used to do it is I used to sit it in a moving box, a large moving box. I'd sit it in there. I had my space heater directed in there. I'd close it up, and that's how I used to do it. So you got to remove this tape before your epoxy sets, because if your epoxy sets and you try to remove that tape, it's going to rip up your epoxy, and then you're going to have either strip the cup or you're going to have some serious work to do on the edge. If you don't tape it and you let it just drip and the drips dry, you're going to have real big drips, which you're not going to be able to hand sand those. It took me forever to hand sand. And when I say forever, a good 30, 40 minutes. That's why I got my little Dremel. And but as it's dripping, if you don't have it taped off, what you want to do is you want to get some kind of popsicle stick or something and just run it around the edges every so often to catch those drips and get rid of those drips. All right. Yeah. And then this is how you can. Yeah. Alicia, you're gonna have to tape before every layer. If you're taping off, you're going to have to tape before every layer. So you would tape off your cup. We're going to pretend like this cup is decorated. All right? So it's decorated. You had it taped off. And also remember, depending on what you're using for your decoration, if you're using Mod Podge to glitter your tumbler, you're going to have to remove that tape, let the Mod Podge dry, re-tape, do your layer of epoxy, remove tape, do a layer of epoxy, re-tape after it's dry, do a layer, remove tape. It's a process, but it's totally doable, and it's not as hard as it sounds. It just sounds like it's a lot. So how it would go, your cup is decorated, you're ready to go, right? You put your first layer of epoxy on there. Depending on if you're using a space heater or not, if your room is warm or not, wherever you are, if you have heat on this cup, that's going to determine when you remove the tape. So anywhere between 20 to 40, 45 minutes, you're going to remove the tape after each layer of epoxy. All right, does that make sense? And this is the hang method that I used to use. Of course, I had the pencil caddies. I used my epoxy arms and the pencil caddies, but you can't find the pencil caddies anymore, and this works just as well. So, and it's nice and even. Like it's not, and that's another thing. You want to make sure, like this is going to tilt to the side, but you want to make sure your cup is centered. You don't want it tilted, you know, and you want it straight and centered. And that's it. That was just something quick this morning to show you guys. If y'all have any questions or comments or whatever about it, go ahead and drop it in drop a comment and I'll answer it. I only monitor it for like a day. I don't keep answering questions days after I do a live. Generally because if you scroll through the comments, all the questions have mostly been asked. If there isn't if you have a question that isn't in the comments, go ahead and shoot me a message and I'll answer it that way. Because I stopped monitoring the comments after a while after I do my post. So y'all have a happy morning, Sunday morning, and I hope y'all have a good, productive, blessed day.